Tuesday to the Ungovernables, the captain's crew, the LFA family, McGroin Nation. Coming to you live from the deep red state of Tennessee on rumble.com/LFA TV. Welcome to Ungoverned. That sound you hear is the sound of Democrats melting down because LaMonica McIver, otherwise known as the Wild Hog, Jabba the Hutt, the monster under your bed, the creature from the Dark Lagoon. LaMonica McIver has been slapped with charges. Why? Get your roosters out. It's a little early to take out your roosters, right? I don't want to say the other word. I'm not going to do it. Get your roosters out. They're melting down. That sound you hear, all that bad weather that we've been getting across the country, it's all because the Democrats can't stop melting down. Queen Kong. Jeremy called her Queen Kong. Oh, my goodness. Folks, I saw this picture yesterday of LaMonica McIver, and she's got, it looks like her bottom chin is eating her top chin, and solo, right, Eli? Solo. I guarantee you, if you walk into LaMonica McIver's house, she's got Han Solo hanging on her wall. I guarantee you. Oh, my Solo. Jabba, you're a wonderful human being. LaMonica McIver has been slapped with charges, and you see the Democrats there. They're making a whole thing. Annette says, behave. I can't help it. I can't help it. Look, there's good news and bad news from yesterday, right? The good news, McIver has been slapped with charges, right? Because she was, get out of my way. Right? Rock out with your shutting up. Get your roosters out today because you know what it is, right? Look, I made a post just before going on. Our friend Derek Evans, right? You know Derek Evans, good guy. He was arrested and thrown in prison for fist bumping, not hitting a cop with a fist, doing one of these, right? Hey, thank you for your service on January 6th. Jeremy keeps making King Kong references. I'm dying in the chat. Captain Chris Cooney, United States Marine Corps, went to jail on civil disorder charges. And you know what he was doing? The heinous crime on January 6th of cleaning garbage up on the floor of the Capitol. He went to jail. But when we see LaMonica McIver, as Jeremy said, batting down planes after she climbed the Empire State Building, Wild Hog. For those of you who may have remembered back, 2012, 2013, Oakland Athletics baseball, Grant Balfour was their closer. And the fans used to do this thing because Grant Balfour had a hot temper. Fans used to do this thing called Balfour Rage, and they would just go like this in the stands when Balfour would come out. That's what LaMonica McIver was doing with these cops. So again, Derek Evans on January 6th, he fist bumps a police officer. Chris Cooney had his house raided. His wife had a miscarriage over that raid. Annette, who we happen to like a lot, and there's a great family. He was picking up garbage at the Capitol. Those guys had to go to jail for January 6th, okay? But LaMonica McIver, no. When she's attacking, it's on video, guys. Eric Swalwell, listen, I know he's blind. Eric Swalwell had very intimate relationships with Chinese. We call it Chinese takeout, don't we, right? Fang, what happened to her? Some people say she died. No, she's alive. Chinese takeout, right? He had a little too much roast pork lo mein one night, if you know what I mean. He's like, oversight. This is a red line. Hakeem Jeffries. I am dollar store Obama. This is a red line. You can't cross the red line. Charles Schumer, right? That's a rich one. Nancy Pelosi. These congressional members are being targeted by a politically weaponized system of justice. Nancy. Listen to me, all right? Nancy Pelosi, she's got a problem with She has a problem with Hammer Time, right? A little romance going on with her husband and his friend, but she doesn't have a problem with the Wild Hog attacking police officers. They are all melting down right now. All of them are melting down. It is hilarious to watch. Look, it's on video. And she's wearing a red coat. Like, you can't even miss it. She's a wild hog in a red sports coat, just going ham, attacking cops. So if it's Chris Cooney picking up garbage, if it's Derek Evans fist bumping police officers, if it's old, elderly women praying, those gotta go to jail. But if it's LaMonica McIver acting like a wild hog outside, and people get offended when I use that term, which is great, including Charles Gasparino, who called me a misogynist for calling Letitia James Sasquatch. Oh, not only is he bad at economics, even though all of his predictions are wrong and all of mine have been right. Oh, he's also a misogynist. People are like, Charles, Chucky, are you really defending Letitia James? So people get offended when I call, but LaMonica McIver, she was acting like a wild hog outside of the ICE facility. She's not supposed to go to jail for that. But you have people on January 6th who legitimately did nothing wrong, right? Like, for instance, Matthew Perna, who was forced into the Capitol. If he didn't go in, he would have been trampled to death, right? So he was forced into the Capitol armed with nothing but a cell phone. He had a hoodie on. He didn't even have his hood up. He wasn't even trying to conceal his face. No, that's worthy of jail time. And by the way, torment that made him take his life. But when LaMonica McIver physically, in some cases with a closed fist, attacked police officers, they're like, that's oversight. Give me a break of that Kit Kat bar. That is unbelievable. And so I ask one more time, for those of you in the chat, to get your roosters out, because today is going to be a rooster day. Nobody is above the law, right? Nobody is above the law. Now, the mayor had his charges dropped. I'm not cool with it, but okay. Alina Habba said, for the sake of moving forward, we're dropping the charges. I don't remember Democrats ever dropping charges for the sake of moving forward, but they were misdemeanor trespass charges. Now, our rooster says nobody's above the law, right? I think the mayor should still be charged, but if we're dropping the charges against Mayor Baraka of Newark because they're misdemeanor charges, and we're going to dedicate all of the time and the resources and the energy into pursuing charges against the Wild Hog, LaMonica McIver, which are felony charges. All right. But I got to see it first. Right? I don't remember Democrats dropping charges for the sake of moving forward, dropping Bannon's charges. Or dropping Navarro's charges, right? Or dropping the charges against peaceful pro-life protesters or January 6th protesters for the sake of moving forward, right? Now, I understand we want to be better than the left. We don't want to throw energy and resources at cases that don't necessarily warrant that much attention, that much time. If we are diverting resources away from seeking convictions against Mayor Baraka for trespassing and instead going to LaMonica McIver, who is on video punching cops, then I can see why Alina Habba did it. Let's see how it plays out. I'm not thrilled with the mayor of Newark getting off, not having to pay the price for anything. What do I think McIver's going to do? I think she's going to plea. She's going to plead guilty, just like Jamal Bowman did, pulling the fire alarm. I pulled that alarm. I won't take a vote. I think she's going to plea. It's on video. Again, Nancy Pelosi can tell you all the time that it's oversight. She can't even say she can't even say the word oversight. Oversight.
It's congressionally approved oversight.
I don't know why Nancy Pelosi, by the way, continues to say words with all the S's in them when she has a nasty lisp and her teeth keep jumping at her.
It's congressionally approved oversight. It's a congressional function to perform oversight ICE facility in New Jersey.
Punching police officers is not oversight. Okay? What was David DePape when he came into your house? Hammer time. Was he performing oversight? Oh, is oversight new code words? I don't know. We're going to get to all of it. A high energy start to the show because it's funny. I'm laughing it up. Right? I think it's quite funny. To just kind of, I do. I think it's funny. Seeing kind of what's happening right now. I don't know. I'm sorry. It's just the meltdowns are too much. The meltdowns are too much. All right. Before we get to all of the meltdowns, and there's apparently a Republican press conference that's happening now. I don't see anything happening at this moment, but I do have it on, on one of my screens just to see if it does happen. If you want to hear it, I mean, I think we'll see. We'll see if there's any big news that's coming out of the press conference. We could go ahead and go for it. But before we get to all that, I want to get to word from our friends at OFP Farms, folks. Amazing message from the farm. Hold on to your hats. Hold on. As Samuel L. Jackson in Jurassic Park said, hold on to your butts. Hold on to your hats, folks. Big news coming from OFP Farms. It is a store-wide clearance extravaganza at OFP Farms. Soaps are going for a mere $3 and $6. And those fancy glass lotion bottles are riding off into the sunset forever. That's a shame. We're going to miss them. Maybe they'll come back. The farm is gearing up for a short staycation, and the website is getting a makeover, so make sure you get in while the getting's good and get that order in while you can. Now is your golden opportunity to stockpile your favorite lip balms, soaps, lotions, and magnesium products before they're gone forever. You heard it right. Go to OFPFarms.com, OFPFarms.com, and take advantage of this amazing clearance promotion today. And on top of the clearance prices that are on the website at OFPFarms.com, you can also get 15% off of your entire order. 15% off of your entire order at OFPFarms.com on top of the clearance discounts and amazing promotions that they're running right now. OFPFarms.com, promo code SHAWN. OFPFarms.com, promo code SHAWN for 15% off. That's OFP, Oscar Foxtrot Papa Farms.com, promo code SHAWN for 15% off. I see Jeremy's got the very talented Brianna Morello coming on next on Live from America. That is awesome. She's one of the best investigative journalists out there. She's very reliable and very thorough. And I know she was on Jeremy's show not too long ago and now coming on again. So that's pretty cool. Jeremy having Brianna Morello. She's awesome. Folks, let us start from what happened. Am I doing this correctly? On the greatest attack our nation has faced since the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs. On the greatest attack that our nation has faced since the Boston Massacre. On the greatest attack on our country since the Civil War. The May 9th, Delaney Hall ICE Facility in New Jersey. Insurrection! Take a look. There she was, the Wild Hog herself, And was that not Wild Hog behavior? Would you not classify that as hoggery? I would classify that as hoggery. That was hoggishness, okay? We're making up new words here, because you know what? If Joe Biden can make up new words, so can we. That's hoggery. That's hoggishness. That's Haagen-Dazs right there. That's ice cream, right? Look at that. And I was told nobody was above the law by our good friend, Officer Rooster. You know, we should call him Officer Richard. Why? Because Richard is correct. Brennan can't. That's why Brennan doesn't have a microphone. She whispered. She said, a cock-a-doodle-doo. Nobody's above the law. All right. Folks, LaMonica McIver has finally been charged. The DOJ has filed charges against Representative LaMonica McIver. I call her the Wild Hog. It's hogwash. I would not want to watch that hog. I'll tell you what. Woo. Yeah. Charges have been filed against LaMonica McIver. Department of Justice have filed charges against LaMonica McIver for assaulting police officers, impeding and interfering with law enforcement. And as you saw on that video, that is exactly what she did. Okay? There's no two ways about it. There's no defending that behavior. That was hog behavior. You're not supposed to attack cops. You're certainly not supposed to do it with a closed fist. That is illegal. That is a crime. That is not oversight. That is not congressional your constitutional duties that are granted to you by the Constitution. That's not any of that. That is assault, and that is a crime. That is assault, and that is a crime. Now, is a phrase that is often thrown around. F-A-F-O. F around. That was what she did. And now she's reached the F-O stage of the F-A-F-O cycle. F around. She F'd around. Now she's finding out. Alina Habba announced yesterday that her office has filed charges against LaMonica McIver for assaulting, impeding, and interfering with law enforcement during an incident earlier in May that saw McIver and other Democrat lawmakers breach a New Jersey ICE detention facility. ICE, baby. McIver was seen on body camera footage pushing her way past security into the gates of Delaney Hall. The Newark mayor was arrested. Alina Habba says, I take my obligations as U.S. attorney seriously. I understand the responsibility that comes with my position, and I will work diligently to uphold the law and deliver justice to the people of New Jersey. Her office charged Congressman McIver with a violation of Title 18, United States Code, Section 111A1, for assaulting, impeding, and interfering with law enforcement, which I would say is what she was doing on that video. Again, if nobody is above the law, then this type of behavior should be prosecuted, and you should be charged with the crimes that she's been charged with: assaulting police officers and impeding law enforcement. That is exactly what happened here. Okay? That is exactly what she's seen doing in those videos. And again, if people who were picking up garbage in the Capitol and fist bumping police officers and thanking them for their service on January 6th went to jail, then at the very least, LaMonica McIver should be charged with assaulting cops. If nobody is above the law, then there's no problem. The issue is we're getting meltdowns from Democrats all over the place. Eric Swalwell, this is a red line. Nancy Pelosi, this is obscene. I can't believe what the Trump administration's Department of Justice is doing to members of Congress. Ro Khanna. I'm not even going to attempt to try and sound like him because I can't sound like him. He's from somewhere that I'm not from. I can't sound like that. Eric Swalwell, right? Mr. Chinese Takeout himself. His flatulence, right? He farted on live television. He should be indicted just for that. That was the Chinese spy. You ripped Riro on live TV, right? On live television. That should be an indictment in and of itself. His flatulence, Eric Swalwell. There were others, Jeffries. Remember AOC? If you lay a finger. Remember this? Here it is.
And now what DHS is trying to say, again, they're using public intimidation because they know that they cannot come for us all. They know that they cannot come for assault. And recently what they said is that DHS is allegedly looking into arresting members of Congress who were showing up for their legal and constitutional obligation to conduct oversight. If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, on Representative, or any of the representatives that were there, you lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem.
We're going to have a problem. Oh, we're going to have a problem if you lay a finger. Well, so far, nobody's laid a finger on the Wild Hog, probably because they don't have enough hazmat suits and PPE to get too close to that being. But I will say this. We're going to have a problem? Sounds like a threat. Remember Hakeem Jeffries, Dollar Store Obama? Remember Hakeem Jeffries? That's a red line. It's a red line. If you do that, you're going to find out. Remember that? Here we go.
The day after there was this incident in Newark, you said they better not touch our members.
Correct.
What happens if they were to go and arrest these members, or if they would try to sanction them here in the House of Representatives?
They'll find out.
What would you do? I mean,
They'll find out.
What recourse? I mean, but doesn't that broach a?
They'll find out.
Doesn't that go across?
That's a red line.
What's the red line though? I mean, I know we have this.
It's a red line. It's very clear. First of all, I think that the so-called Homeland Security spokesperson is a joke. It's a joke. They know better than to go down that road, and it's been made loudly and abundantly clear to the Trump administration. We're not going to be intimidated by their tactics to try to force principled opposition from not standing up to their extremism. It hasn't happened during the entirety of this failed term. It didn't happen when Donald Trump temporarily was sitting high in the immediate aftermath of the election. Do you think it's going to happen now, when he's the most unpopular president in American history after his first 100 days? Give me a break. No one's intimidated by this dude. No one.
All right, Hakeem Jeffries. They're going to find out. What? Find out about what? All right, the red line's been crossed, Hakeem. Your move, buddy. What you going to do when they come for you? Bad boy, bad boy. What are you going to do? Huh? Because they made a bunch of posts on X last night. Oh, man. They made a bunch of posts. Oh, this is unacceptable. Well, Hakeem Jeffries' red line has been crossed. What's he going to do? What is he going to do? Again, you know what? If the only person who was facing charges was this mayor, right, for misdemeanor trespass, and the Democrats wanted to die on that hill and fiercely defend that position, oh, he was just doing his job. Oh, what are you? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. I would be like, all right, it's a pretty good battle to fight. We have the video. Everybody has seen it. This is the funniest part about the Democrats overreacting and hyperventilating, and they hate this word, by the way. Say this on, folks, you want to drive them crazy? You want to get a bunch of either bots or Democrat trolls or whatnot who are just crazy left-wing lunatics in your replies and have some fun today? Use the term melting down. They hate that term. They hate it. Oh, nobody's melting down. You are. You're going nuts. The fact that the Democrats are melting down over how inappropriate these charges are, when we have the video of her doing what she's charged with doing, is hilarious. You wonder why their approval rating is at 20%. It's because we see evidence of what LaMonica McIver did on May 9th at Delaney Hall, and they're telling us, no, you don't see that. That's not what actually happened on that video. It's back to Biden. When Joe Biden sat down with 60 Minutes and he blurted out, I no more think of myself as being as old as I am than fly. And we're like, hey, is there something wrong with this guy? They're like, no, what's wrong? What do you mean what's wrong? What does that mean? It's like when they told us every single video, every video of Joe Biden slipping and falling or making a gaffe or waving to nobody or shaking hands with the air or asking where dead congresswomen were or falling off bicycles or whatever it might have been, right? Making up new words, blah, 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 reading the teleprompter, end of quote, repeat the line. Like, come on. We were like, hey, don't you think there's something wrong with it? Like, that's a cheap fake. It's the 1984 example. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their most essential command, right? You see what is going on in front of you. We all see what is happening right in front of us. We saw the video of LaMonica McIver acting like a wild hog outside of the ICE facility in New Jersey, pushing, shoving, assaulting police officers, some of them with a closed fist, right? We've seen it. It's on tape. There's no denying that exists. And they're like, no, you don't see that. There's nothing wrong with that behavior. What? We are watching it. If any of us did that, we'd be in trouble. Actually, there are people who did far less than that on January 6th, and they went to prison. They had their lives upended, their homes raided, their families destroyed for doing less than what LaMonica McIver did. That's a fact. And the fact that the Democrats want to act like you or me, if you're a moderate or if you're a Democrat voter, they want to act like you can't access this, that you haven't seen that you're so ignorant that you're just going to believe what they said. What LaMonica McIver did isn't oversight, period, end of story. It's a crime. She was charged with the crime. The video exists, and all of these Democrats who are like, oh, this is unbelievable. She was performing oversight. That is not what this is. Okay, you saw Big Red. Big Red is out there pushing cop. You can't do that. And that video isn't doctored. It's not AI. It's not a cheap fake. No, it's not that. That's real. That video is real. We know what she did. So to all the Democrats and all the left-wing people pretending to be outraged over this, you should be outraged that one of your members of Congress lost her cool and behaved like an animal. You should not be outraged that she's being held accountable for her animalistic and hoggish behavior. The issue is not with Alina Habba. Alina Habba would not be levying charges and filing charges against LaMonica McIver if LaMonica McIver didn't assault cops. And it's not a question of whether or not she assaulted cops. It is on video. It is on multiple videos. There are multiple angles of it. That's not oversight. That is not behavior in accordance with the law. That is illegal behavior. And as our good friend Officer Richard says, the nobody's above the law rooster. Nobody is above the law. Correct? Correct. And I think the moderates, if we can get this out to them, if we could reach them, right? Can we reach the moderates? Can we do a bunch of sharing today and reach your moderate friends who may be tuned out and say, hey, just so you know, because I know you're going to come out and vote in 2026. Please don't vote for the Democrats. Don't vote for a single Democrat. They have destroyed your trust. They have not earned a single vote in this country as far as I'm concerned. The fact that they're acting like that video that I played, 3 or 4 times this morning doesn't exist. They're acting like what's on that video isn't what's on that video. It's like it's almost as bad. It's about as bad as the Very Fine People hoax. When Donald Trump said, hey, I condemn the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists totally. But there were actually good people and peaceful people on both sides of that protest. And they were like, he called neo-Nazis very fine people. And they ran with that for years. And Joe Biden launched his 2020 presidential campaign on that lie. It's just as bad as that, where there is clear video evidence that what they're saying is not true. And yet, They're still saying it. Get this out to your moderate friends. Get this out to the politically lukewarm people who aren't tuned in all the time. That's okay. I get it. We got lives. But 2026 is closer than you think. And we have to get this out there and start building. Think of it like you're bringing a case to trial, right? Like you're a lawyer. All right? Because I know there's people, well, what happens now isn't going to impact 2026. What are you talking about? Every infraction and every problem the Democrats cause, whether it's calling for war like LaMonica McIver did at a protest, whether it's assaulting police officers, whether it's defending the Tesla terrorism, whether it's defending waste, fraud, and abuse, or whether it's defending men and women's sports, every piece like that the Democrats put out there for us is a piece that we have to take and build into our case file. The case file, right? I think this is what it is. It's very simple. 2026 is going to be the Democrats being put on trial in the court of public opinion, right? The midterms. That's what that's going to be. I see Republicans have a higher approval rating. Congressional Republicans have a higher approval rating than Democrats by 10 points, according to a Harvard poll. That's significant, but it doesn't mean anything if we're not talking about it, right? If we're not putting the information out there. We have to build a case, right? We're all attorneys. We're all building a case that we are taking to trial in the 2026 midterm. The jury is the electorate, right? And we have to put together a convincing case that the majority of the jury that is going to vote in that election sees the Democrats as the criminals that they are and convicts them. And instead of voting for Democrats, they either don't vote or they vote for Republican candidates. Listen to me. I know there are Republicans out there like Tom Tillis, like Don Bacon. There are people out there that are they're awful. They're terrible. I get it. Not every Republican is good. As a matter of fact, the majority of them are lukewarm pansies too. But they're a hell of a lot better than Democrats, right? I mean, if Republicans are as bad as Democrats, Trump would be impeached already, correct? So they're not as bad. And I hate that we have to do this lesser of two evils crap. But they're not as bad. The Democrat Party is a party that lied to you about Joe Biden's cognitive health, may have lied to you about his physical health, lied to you about January 6th, lied to you about the very fine people hoax. They've lied to you about climate change. They've lied to you about waste, fraud, and abuse. They lied to you about inflation. They lied to you about Afghanistan. They lied to you about the border. They're lying to you about LaMonica McIver. They lied to you about Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. All they do is lie to you. It's not like we're focusing on one issue now and saying this is the issue that will win 2026. No. We take all of those issues. We create a case. We build a case. And then we try that case in the court of public opinion, which is the 2026 midterms. If we win the 2026 midterms, if we keep the House, even if it's a small majority, Donald Trump will not be impeached. If we lose it, he will be. Period. And the question now rests that the destiny and the result, the outcome of the 2026 midterms, it's in our hands. We are holding the football. There is plenty to put out there. Some things matter more than others. But there is plenty to put out there and to use in our case to win 2026. And I want you to think of it like that. Yeah, maybe in a year from now, my ear keeps popping because of this congestion. Maybe in a year from now, people won't really remember what happened at the ICE facility, and that's okay. But don't you think in another 12 months, in May of 2026, the Democrats will have had many similar episodes to what we've seen over the last 5 months or so? And don't you think that if we keep track and we log these things and we build this case file, that when we get into August, September, October, and into the midterms, we will have a stack of evidence like this on them and say, all right, moderates, court of public opinion, this is why I don't want you to vote for the Democrats, because look at the way they've behaved over the last couple of years. They have never been this unhinged. They've been liars. They've been corrupt. They've been, violent. They've made these, incendiary calls, but they have never been this unhinged. I'm talking about elected Democrats. Summer of love, I'll give you summer of love. That's fine. But elected Democrats now are openly defending behavior that was put on display by LaMonica McIver on May 9th. It is up to us to build that case. We've got a year. If we don't have a solid, 3-foot-long stack of examples of why the Democrats should never be trusted again come 2026, we will lose the midterms. Trump will be impeached, and his 4-year term will basically be cut short into a 2-year term. He's not going to be removed from office. But everything will get stuck. And we'll be back to where we were before 2024. All right. I hope I'm clear about all that. Seems like most people agree. I see Slam is saying if there's no perp walks and no prosecutions before, they'll lose the midterms. And you may be right about that. But I want to caution everybody. Again, I want to ask you that this is a very important question that we need to reflect on and meditate on. Do you want things done quickly? Or do you want things done thoroughly? I want you to answer that. Not just, because Slam may be right in the chat. Slam may be right. If there are no perp walks, if there's no arrests, if there's no prosecutions, we may lose the midterm. He may be right. Or she. I want the perp walks too. But I want them done the right way. I want them done thoroughly. I want there to be diligence. I want airtight cases. Airtight cases. Not lukewarm cases. Not maybe cases. Airtight. So think of it this way. If you're building a home, do you want to build a home quickly and potentially in sloppy fashion? Or would you rather take a little more time building that home so that you have a solid foundation? So that the structure that you're going to be living in is strong? Do you want to spend a little bit more time on that so that you can do it right? Do you want things done quickly? Or do you want things done thoroughly? And this is not a rebuke of saying, I want perp walks, I want arrests, I want prosecutions, because I want those things. But I don't want those things for the sake of just getting them, because that will backfire on us. Think about what happened to Donald Trump. They did the same thing to him. They did arrests, they did mugshots, they did arraignments, they did indictments, they did convictions, but none of it meant anything. It only helped them. We don't want to repeat those same mistakes. I want the prosecutions. I want the arrests. I want the perp walks. I want the mugshots to mean something. I don't want those things to boost the Democrats by them being able to turn it around and play and be the victim here. LaMonica McIver can't effectively play the victim because of what she did and the fact that it's on video. She can't play the victim. Just like Jamal Bowman, who pled guilty. He can't play the victim. He pulled a fire alarm. That's against the law. He pled guilty. I want things done thoroughly, correctly. I don't want them done just for the sake of saying we did them. That's what the Democrats did to Trump, and it backfired badly on them. We don't want to be in the same position. All right, let's take a quick break, and then we're going to get to the cancer stuff. I got a couple of clips. My ears keep popping. Goodness. Yeah, the first line of storms is coming through. The second line is going to come through around now about 5 o'clock, so a little earlier. It's hard to say, but it's looking like, around 5 o'clock, according to the HRRR, High Resolution Rapid Refresh. All right. Let's get to a word from and take a look at the LFA TV Store. LFATV.us, ladies and gentlemen. It is right there on your screen. Take a look at it. You got all this great merch. Look, the mugs are back in stock. The foremost iconic photos in American presidential history. The fight photo, the mug shot, the garbage photo, and the McDonald's photo. That McDonald's trip was a stunt. Damn right it was, and it was really funny. You got the Made America Great Again shirts. I think they make a great gift for those who love the MAGA movement or those who want to maybe troll a little bit. The I don't really care, Margaret. Love that. There is something for everybody here at the LFA TV Store. It's LFATV.us. Keychains and, look at the Rise Up coffee. Look, this is the best way. Yo, Dad, what you doing? You up yet? No, I'm not up yet. Have some Rise Up coffee. Get them up in the morning. There it is. You got ball caps. You've got beach towels and tank tops and all sorts of good stuff happening right here at the LFA TV Store. LFATV.us, 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 or jeremyherald.com/store. That's LFATV.us or jeremyherald.com/store. All right, there are a lot of people, doctors and whatnot, who have apparently reached some sort of consensus right now about Joe Biden's cancer diagnosis and whether or not that diagnosis was a fresh diagnosis or if that diagnosis was something that maybe they knew about for a long time. I'm going to play for you two different medical professionals. Doctors are saying that it is inconceivable that Biden's cancer went undiagnosed for years. One doctor even saying he probably had it at the start of his presidency. Now, does that mean that he knew he had it at the start of his presidency? Nobody knows the exact moment that they get cancer. They know the exact moment that they catch the cancer, right? When you catch it, it means you've had it for a certain period of time. This is Dr. Zeke Emanuel, and he was on MSNBC talking about this Biden cancer diagnosis, which, as we called it yesterday, okay? Democrats want to use the cancer diagnosis as a way to evade accountability. Do not let them do that, okay? You can say, hey, it's a shame that Joe Biden had cancer. I don't wish it on him, and I'm not celebrating it. But there have been calls now to stop criticizing Biden because he has cancer. One has nothing to do with the other. Nothing. It's like the same people who got really upset when Donald Trump said, I don't really, John McCain, I don't respect him. When I say I don't respect him, oh yeah, you're slandering veterans. No. I respect John McCain for serving our country. But I don't respect John McCain for selling out our country when he became a member of Congress and a senator. You get it? Same thing. Two separate things. I don't want Joe Biden to have cancer. I'm not happy Joe Biden has cancer. I wasn't wishing Joe Biden got cancer. He got it, and I said, that's a shame. I don't wish that on anybody. But just because he has cancer doesn't mean we can't talk about all of the things that he did to our country and the cognitive health cover-up. That's what the Democrats want. Don't let them do it. Here's Dr. Zeke Emanuel on MSNBC talking about how long it's been that Joe Biden had this cancer. Watch this.
You're an oncologist, obviously incredibly respected. You believe that it is likely, just for those just tuning in, you believe it is likely if this prostate cancer has spread to the bone that he could have had it for up to a decade, but certainly it's likely. Would it be fair to say it's likely to have had this for at least several years?
Oh, more than several years. You don't get prostate cancer.
I just want to stop you. So this is not speculation. If you have prostate cancer that is spread to the bone, then he's most certainly, you are saying, had it when he was president of the United States.
Oh, yeah. He did not develop it in the last 100, 200 days. He had it while he was president. He probably had it at the start of his presidency in 2021. Yes, that I don't think there's any disagreement about that.
And that was Western Linsman who put that up on X. That was on MSNBC. And you could see Joe Scarborough not very happy about that. You know, he didn't want to hear that. Here's a friend of ours who was on Newsmax yesterday. He was a very busy man yesterday. Dr. Frank Connessa, who, if you've watched Impractical Jokers, you've seen this man before. Speaking of prostate cancer, he's a really cool guy, an honest person, and I would consider him an expert in this type of thing. Take a look at this. This is from Newsmax, Dr. Frank Connessa. It's long, but it is an in-depth analysis of Joe Biden's cancer diagnosis. Here's Dr. Frank.
Well, former President Biden has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. His office says the cancer is characterized by a Gleason score of 9 with metastasis to the bone. Now we're learning he's discussing different forms of treatment options with his doctors and family.
And the announcement came out yesterday, but the former president putting out a post on X this morning saying, quote, "Cancer touches us all. Like so many of you, Jill and I have learned that we are strongest in the broken places. Thank you for lifting us up with love and support." End quote. We're bringing out Dr. Frank Connessa, an internist at Custom Care Medical. Dr. Frank, always great to see you, and thank you so much for coming on this topic here. And a difficult one for the Biden family to receive this diagnosis, and obviously moving forward with that Gleason score of 9, and it goes 1 to 10, by the way. So if you can explain where this is, what treatment would look like, what would be expected now that we've seen this cancer spread to his bones, as we've heard per that statement, Doctor.
Well, nice to be with you guys this morning. And again, sad news for the president, former president, and we all wish him well. There's a lot to unpack with whatever they have released so far. The Gleason score that you mentioned of 9 does indicate an aggressive form. The Gleason score comes from a biopsy. So this was actually tissue that they got from a biopsy taken. And the Gleason score comes from that. And it shows that there's an aggressive form, and which has already spread and metastasized to his bones, which is the most common place for prostate cancer to spread. The one piece of good news here is that it does seem to be hormone sensitive. And the hormone they're talking about here is testosterone. Testosterone often fuels prostate cancer. It makes it grow faster. It makes it more aggressive. So if you can block that testosterone, and there are several drugs that can do it, there's injections, there's some pills, you can often slow the progression. So I can say this, almost certainly, it's very unlikely that this will be cured, because once it gets into the bones the way it has, you can't really get rid of those cancer cells. But you can slow the progression and extend life quite a bit with these hormone blockers that may or may not be combined with something like radiation. It really kind of depends on the personal choices. There's surgery, there's radiation, but I think the mainstay of the treatment for the former president will be the testosterone blocking therapy.
Okay. He's 82 right now. And again, according to the statement, this was on Friday that he was diagnosed with the cancer. And this is obviously a very different, unfortunate diagnosis compared to the last time we heard publicly what the president underwent with the doctor. The White House doctor declared then President Biden completely fit for duty when he went for his annual physical in 2024. Doctor, is this maybe something that wasn't tested at the time to explain why now it's gotten so bad in what seems to be, I guess, a shorter period of time?
I have to say, I think it's unlikely that they would have missed it. If they did miss it, it's a pretty big miss. Men of this age are routinely screened for prostate cancer, either through the PSA blood test, which is not perfect, but it's a pretty good test, or the digital rectal exam. I would guess that he probably had both. In addition, people who get levels of exams like this, the presidential type of an exam, would probably have had some imaging, either a CT or an MRI, where you would have picked something like this up. So there are multiple modalities that could have and should have picked this up. So I think the likelihood that this came out of nowhere is small, particularly since the time for progression to the time that it gets into the bones, this is not a brand new diagnosis, in my opinion. I think they've probably known about this for a while.
Yeah, and again,
So there it was, Dr. Frank basically saying that if they missed it, that's a pretty big swing and a miss. Essentially implying that they knew. And they chose not to tell the American people. Now, if that can be proven, that the President of the United States not only was suffering from some sort of cognitive decline, which we know, but was suffering from an aggressive form of prostate cancer while serving as President of the United States, while everybody told us he was in great shape. If that can be proven, and I mean not just by saying, this is what happened, but testimony, documentation, etc., it's game over for 26 as far as I'm concerned. Then you've proven the Democrats can't be trusted with any sort of power because they're keeping secrets as big as the President of the United States being sick with an aggressive, potentially terminal disease, keeping that from the American people. All right, moving on, because we talked about the cognitive issues a lot yesterday too, which is separate from the cancer as far as I'm concerned. Remember Ed Martin? Everybody does. The Eagle, right? The Eagle is unleashed. He is the United States pardon attorney, and now Ed Martin is going there. He's going there. Now that we're not finding out, but again, more proof has emerged that people knew about Joe Biden's cognitive issues. Ed Martin is now going to be taking a look as U.S. pardon attorney at the validity of some of Joe Biden's pardons. Right here on Red State, Anthony Fauci, Adam Schiff, Hunter Biden are probably starting to sweat maybe a little bit. Ed Martin, previously the interim U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia, has a new job at the DOJ. Trump's got him working as a pardon attorney, and Ed Martin, the Eagle, plans to look into Joe Biden's last-minute pardons. Presumably, he's going to be looking into which of these may have been signed by AutoPen and how much or how little Joe Biden knew about them. It's yet to be announced precisely what it will be examined in the review of pardons, but given Joe Biden's known mental state as well as other health issues more recently announced, it would seem some scrutiny should be applied. How many of the pardons were signed? Not by the president himself, but by an AutoPen. How many of the pardons did President Biden personally approve? All of them, some of them, or none of them? If they were signed by AutoPen, a tool normally used primarily for ceremonial items, why use the tool rather than have the actual signature? The head scratcher is going to be the legal significance of any questionable pardons. The Constitution gives the president wide pardon powers, and pardons once signed are final. There's no appeal. There's no recourse. The Constitution does not include any mechanism for revoking a pardon, not even by the president who issued it. A fraudulently issued pardon, though, hasn't happened before. The bar of proof is going to have to be high. Ed Martin's going to take a look at it. And I will say this. If Ed Martin determines that we can't challenge these pardons, and I see anybody saying, Ed Martin's in on it, he's corrupt, I'm blocking you. Because I have had it with that crap. Folks, if Ed Martin says at the end of this investigation that nothing can be done, then it's pretty safe to believe nothing can be done. Okay? I'm just saying that now because I don't want you to get your hopes up. However, I want you to know, according to that piece, he's going to look into it. But if he believes that nothing can be done, then it's probably that nothing can be done. All right. Here we go. One more thing. Supreme Court actually did something right yesterday. Little Billy Currington. Must be doing something right. Donald Trump You know, he revoked the temporary protected status of 300,000 Venezuelans, and then a district court judge said, not allowed to do that. Okay. Well, the Supreme Court came back and gave a big old smack to that district court judge. Supreme Court is allowing Donald Trump to revoke amnesty and the temporary protected status for over 300,000 Venezuelans, which is nice. Obviously, you know, the temporary protected status protects these people from being deported. But Donald Trump said, oh, you were granted temporary protected status by Joe Biden. New president, new rules. Goodbye. District Court Judge Edward Chen prevented the administration from revoking TPS protections for thousands of Venezuelan migrants. But the Supreme Court Justice ruled 8-1. Ketanji Brown, not a biologist, Jackson dissented. She was the lone dissenter. Supreme Court has repeatedly recognized the president's inherent authority to exclude aliens, and inherent clearly means he may exercise it even when he is not guided by a specific statute. The Supreme Court has allowed the Trump administration to revoke temporary legal status for protections for more than 300,000 Venezuelan migrants as litigation continues. The litigation regarding the matter will continue in the lower courts. However, because the Supreme Court has ruled that it is within the authority of the president to revoke that TPS status for these Venezuelans, lower courts can't do anything about it. They can try and appeal it or try and block it with new legal procedures and challenge it on different grounds. But on these current grounds, the issue is settled. And those 300,000 Venezuelans are going to have their temporary protected status revoked, and they will be liable for deportation. So I think that is a positive development out of the not so positive lately Supreme Court. But we'll take the wins when we can get them. We'll certainly take those wins when we can get them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching and listening. I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. Those of you, I see there's a bunch of Bongino Army in the chat. We appreciate all of you guys being here. I'm obviously standing strongly behind Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, even when they say things that I may not agree with, right? I still have questions about, did Epstein kill himself? Did he not? But if they looked at the evidence and all the evidence that they looked at says he killed himself, then they're just telling you what the evidence says, right? Was evidence destroyed? Maybe. We'll see. But I'm certainly not going to run and start calling them corrupt or deep state just because they said something I disagree with. That type of purity test is stupid and destructive, and I think we got to calm down with stuff like that. It's okay to have questions. It's one thing to have questions. I still have questions about Epstein. I'm not sold that he killed himself, but I'm also not going to say that Bongino and Patel are now all of a sudden in on it or corrupt. I think that's ridiculous. But I appreciate everybody here. Bongino Army, appreciate you guys. McGroin Nation, LFA family, Ungovernables. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Hit that thumbs up button. Jeremy Harrell coming up next with Brianna Morello joining the show over the course of the next 2 hours. As President Trump would say, we will never give up, we will never give in, and we will never ever surrender. And if all else fails, we will just become ungovernable. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place, rumble.com/LFA TV, and also on X at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Until then, have a great rest of your Tuesday. Season finale of Oak Island tonight. It's always a sad day when that happens. And in the words of John Fetterman, good night, everybody. Bang gavel. We'll see you tomorrow morning.